Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Your Coffee Podcast. My name is Joe Keyport.
I'm Wes. I'm a little aloof right now, but I'm here too.
And we're joined by all three members of Haze Gazer. How's it going?
Pretty solid.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Jesus Christ.
Like midline, but
I don't know if that was intentional.
Like
the eye contact
skewing
kind of
positive. Yeah, skewing
Yeah.
positive for sure.
Medium to positive.
Yeah, well, we're here with the band after doing a little, a little live session with y'all, which we appreciate. We'll jump into. It's been what, like two and a half years.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, but who's counting?
I specifically had to count. I forced myself to count
Yeah.
because I can't just remember this kind of thing.
No.
Numbers? No.
do that either.
That was funny because that was like a few months after your first EP, and now we're here on I guess kind of the verge of a second EP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole ass album in between where we're just like,
Yeah,
We
that
can't do
happened.
Haze Gazer, phew.
That was such a
who the
blur.
heck are they?
Yeah.
It did happen though.
It did happen.
It did.
I'm reminding the audience as well. It did happen.
Yeah.
If you want to,
Because we talked to...
your own words.
We talked to Logan about your album, but we didn't talk to you about your
Yeah.
album.
I know.
So, in the
Listening
documentary.
to that podcast episode was surreal because it was like, whoa, it's people talking about our band and none of us are there right now.
And also, we had no idea that it dropped until all of a sudden I saw all these posts. It was like, Logan Chamo is talking about the new Haze Gazer album on Ear Coffee. And I'm like, oh boy.
It's like,
Oh,
okay.
boy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully
this
it's
member
nice.
of the band is talking about the music.
Yeah. But yeah, we recorded an album. That whole process was great. That was a wild.
That was very surreal.
Yeah, because it was like in the midst of like a majority of this stuff was written with our old drummer Michael, which I know y'all know, but audience context. But then like in the midst of it, Michael was going to college, and so like it was this kind of whole like goodbye to him, and then like issuing in a new, very welcomed member of the band, and like this very like bittersweet because we get to grow and experience things with Sean, but also, you know, one of our closest friends for the past like 2-3 years is now in Iowa.
you're accepting the transient sadness that is inherent to Iowa.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Especially, but in general as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Korn and Slipknot.
Yeah. Those are two things.
Those are two.
Korn
two
is
Iowa
also
things.
from
Wow.
Iowa.
I love
No,
it.
the food,
Like the
not the
food.
band.
Oh.
Yeah.
And a
Well,
normal
both.
R.
I
Like,
think
corn
I
is
think
grown in Iowa,
It was
too.
like a,
Yeah,
like
there
a-
you go.
I don't know what the
By
fuck kind of
proxy.
entendre, but it was one of them.
Yeah,
There it is.
I think
Triple,
Korn
quadruple.
just like wandered out of a
dumbass
swamp.
entendre.
I think, well, Korn's from California.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I didn't know.
I read...
That
Did you read their
checks out.
Wikipedia before we started?
No, I
recording?
read both of the biographies the two members put out.
Oh,
When I-
like the Brian
Head's like Jesus one,
Yeah,
and
that
then
one's
Fieldy's
crazy.
like whole pseudo Jesus one.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, because that was real cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we've been
Okay.
up to.
Well, you're looking at me.
Yeah,
as
not
if
really.
I'm
Like
expected
a
to say
lot and
something.
also nothing. And also a lot and also not much.
Yeah.
What if you said that in more words, Mia?
Watch me. Try me.
I'm trying. What do you think I'm doing? I'm trying you.
I don't know. I feel like the whole recording experience was really great, but I think just like a lot was happening in our like personal lives, and like I feel like our first EP was released very much in a vacuum because we released it. Was it January of 2021?
Yeah, it was January of 2021, and
Dead of COVID winter.
we started recording it directly before.
Yeah, like 2
COVID
months
hit.
before COVID.
So going back into the studio and recording it during COVID was like non-existent.
yeah, and so I feel like we kind of released it when like shows were not happening. We had no ability really to promote it too much. We did this Ear Coffee podcast over Zoom.
Yeah. Whereas now you
together.
are just literally locked
Yeah,
in our basement.
absolutely. But I feel like we were not able to like process that first EP as much because like we weren't really able to hype it up or anything. And then we worked on the second album and just kind of like, I don't know. It was crazy. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But the response was great. It was very fun. We were able to promote it a lot. But I think it was kind of like almost like doing it for the first time again, because
Yeah.
we never really got to actually do it the
Yeah,
first
and
time.
even ignoring the whole kind of album factor where it's not just being late, like the way some of it's just semantics, where it's like, oh, it's an album versus there's an EP.
Right, yeah.
Sure. Some bands are sticklers about that, and it's like, okay,
I think it's whatever
Sure.
you want
You
it to
say
be in
that.
your heart.
Yeah.
It's something you listen to with your ears, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is fine.
Yeah.
It's a
absolutely.
debut LP. It's a second
that
EP.
album
It's
absolutely
whatever you
was-
want it to be.
Yeah, like a kind of a more proper kind of coming out party. Not to
Absolutely.
put everything in gay terms, because we've established already that we're all not gay. Right, Joe? Say that we're not gay.
I don't even have a pronoun.
Do not refer. But that, I guess, takes us to the new EP, or album, whatever the fuck we want to call it. The new body of work.
The record.
Yeah, shout out to Julian Baker only.
Was this your first with the new EP? Was this your first true like writing some of the first songs with Sean then, or had you been kind of working with that? 'Cause you play. Well, did you help play on the first record, or what was?
No.
Okay,
I
so
did
that was
the-
all
I did
Michael.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
all Michael, and then the like actual album EP, whatever.
Yeah,
whatever you want to
the
call
release that will be out.
It. Yeah. Well, the one when even was that like 2 years ago? With Tim. When was that?
That was
I did that.
2022.
Yeah.
Yes.
Released
So that was
August.
The record
that was the
was August
album.
2022.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a year and a half ish.
Yeah.
That feels like a couple
Literally
months
like
ago.
Centuries
seriously.
ago at the same time.
Like
though.
it just happened. I know.
Yeah, so this is like the first time that I was part of seeing the songs develop.
The
I
whole-
feel like
okay.
with the album, I just kind of was given some demos and given like 3 weeks and like, hey, can you be ready to record this in a
All right.
studio? And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know about that, but it worked, I guess,
Yeah.
like for the most part, I think.
It sounded sick to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. We listeners are blind in our blissful ignorance of the rock and drums that we're hearing.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I wouldn't go that far, but
I
They're
said
definitely-
rocket. I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
profess like dying love for it.
there's definitely drumming. I would
Yeah,
say.
and you certainly recorded drums,
This is-
and I think we can all relish in that.
yeah.
So what was the process like for y'all with then moving into Sean? You being a new member, you're not like working from demos. You're there in it, and I mean the rest of you. This is it was like a growth for the band too, because you like you said earlier, you lost this longtime member and longtime friend. I mean, it's not like you lost him physically. You just
He's still alive.
He's
He's still alive.
alive. He's just
good.
in Iowa.
He came to our last show.
I was like, I've seen him play with y'all at least once or twice
Yeah.
since then. So like but at this new format that is Haze Gazer.
I don't know. I feel like from my point of view personally, I feel like it was just a very natural progression. Like I personally feel like there wasn't a weird like learning period. Like I feel like the first time I met Sean, I was a little nervous because I was just meeting some random guy in a basement in a house in Como that B sent me the address to, and then was subsequently half an hour late.
Yep.
So
You were, they were, or both.
I was.
B was
Oh,
very
it was
late.
on time. I was
Yeah.
just, and it's my house,
Yeah,
so I was
yeah.
sitting there like, oh, hello.
And I remember being like just
Haha.
kind of nervous, just like meeting this random dude and being like, hey, like, thanks for drumming. And then I think like after talking to you for 5 minutes, it was like totally fine. Like we became really good friends. And I feel like just the writing process was always really smooth. Like Sean picked up on kind of the vibe or knew what we wanted pretty easily. It was really good just kind of bounce ideas with. And I don't know, I just felt like there wasn't a huge like loss or like gap feeling in losing Michael. I mean,
It was pretty
absolutely as a
seamless, yeah.
friend, but just kind of music writing, I feel like the process is pretty
yeah.
smooth.
You were able to really like just kind of segue in really fluidly, really quickly, and just become a part of the sound and work with the band.
Yeah, I feel like it made it easier too that it's just like at my house. All of a sudden, B's in my basement, and like I feel like quite a few of our practices was just us two, and B had song ideas, and then we just kind of vibed with it for an hour, and we're like, yeah, that sounds kind of sick. Maybe I'll do this, you know. Maybe.
What if we add a third breakdown?
It wasn't until we finally practiced with Mia again, where Mia was like, hey, why don't we cut out like 7 minutes of
Yeah.
this song? And I'm like, I don't really, just sure, whatever. And
Yeah,
then,
it
What kind of band do you want us to be?
it kind of also like we would all kind of the formation of like writing and stuff is like for a hot second, it was like, how long could we play this riff before we get tired of it? And for a hot second, that was never. Like it would just go on for like 7 minutes. And over time, Mia's...
So not never.
Okay, 7 minutes. 7 to 10.
Until my body started giving out. And this jam
that's
session.
Yeah. Sean encourages me with how long to stretch riffs, and then Mia will come to a practice and be like, hey, we're going to cut
Don't do that.
half of this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like, too, before you get to my house, I have like 4 beers in me, and I'm like, this is
That'll
fucking
help.
sick. That riff is sick. Let's just keep doing this.
Call that creative
And,
juices.
Yeah. And I'm sweating.
Enjoyment kind of takes over.
Yeah, I was just
the whole transition was seamless enough where it Mia and I actually both auditioned for Sean's other band.
That's true. Yeah,
because we
did.
liked hanging out with him so much. We were like,
No, what I auditioned prior to meeting you, and I had no idea you were in Small Animal Hospital, and you sent me all of Small Animal Hospital's demos.
Oh,
Come
yeah,
to find
that
out that B also did the same thing.
yeah.
and you came over that one day, and we like jammed for a couple hours, and then we didn't talk for 2 months, and then
Yeah,
we were like,
and I was
we were
like, hey, do you want to play drums in my band?
Can you play this like big gig we have at the Amsterdam in like 2
yeah,
weeks?
shit.
And I'm like, I can try. And then it's like, here, learn this 7-minute fucking song, Latin bullshit, and all this other shit that I've never listened
with
to.
The new
It's
album.
in like
not,
4 different times.
Not as many 7-minute songs.
Yeah, not as
No.
many. There's
Our
like a minute
band-
and 20-second song.
Our
Yeah,
band
yeah.
kind of shows like what happens when you're like 16 and you just discover stoner metal for the first
Yeah.
time, and you're like, oh my god, this is the most amazing genre ever. I'm gonna write so much music like this, and then you do, and then you grow up, and then you're like, oh,
Jesus.
No, but it's
then you
it's
grow
okay.
up
It's
and
okay because we lived it.
it's a lived experience, and obviously still love stoner metal, but I think
Yeah.
like I don't know, we kind of realized that like I can't play that like 5/4 box for 7 minutes
No,
anymore.
how many people can just write a Tony Iommi riff and call it their own if they tune it to C standard?
Yep. Yep.
Too many, but also stoner metal fucking rips.
It does.
Yeah, when it hits, it hits.
Yeah.
But
But when it doesn't, it really doesn't.
Yeah.
And a lot of those bands have also come to the similar realization that doing something different and more unique, I guess, to the current ensemble, instead of just kind of synthesizing what you knew and loved and starting to write music that goes beyond that. And I think that's very true with this new release. We'll name it ambiguously, like a genderless husk.
Yeah,
to-
I
to
don't
be
because I don't
released
think
to
we
the
have a
streaming
name
services.
for it.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't have a name for it.
You don't
Yeah.
have a name for it?
We have ideas, but I don't know.
They're
All
all
of them,
bad.
all of them just kind of felt like it's not it.
Yeah.
It's not.
That's
it.
fair.
You'll
Is it fair?
you'll
You
know
wanna
by
get
the
them
time
credit?
this comes out
Yeah.
what the EP is.
Yeah, and you'll be
called,
like,
but-
"Wow, oh my god, they chose a really good
Yeah,
name."
we're
Yeah,
just gonna
hell yeah.
we're just gonna bleep over it.
The album is called. Sweet.
What was the first song y'all like had officially written together, and did it make it on this new release, or what?
There's 4 songs.
No, I
Yeah.
feel like the first song that we wrote together with Sean was "Mortal Wombat."
Yeah,
I guess
which
so.
was because I was gonna bring this up to correct us from the last thing. 5 of the songs on the last album were written with Michael, but
Okay.
then 2 of them were written with Sean.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
We
what I
had,
was
a
like
weird,
remembering
kind of
from the
blending.
documentary, but I was like,
Yeah,
I don't even remember.
It was
my
like
songs, to be
it was
honest,
Mortal
with
Wombat, and then we wrote the interlude
Interlude,
together,
yeah.
which is
Okay,
like
yeah.
half a song.
Yeah.
So those made it onto the last one, but the first one that we wrote for this new one, I believe, was Sad Evil.
Well, yes, but technically it's Bear Force
Yeah,
One.
you had a
but we
different idea.
revamped
Oh
it.
yeah. We originally wrote Bear Force One as a shit song.
Okay, it was not shit, but it was just like a lot of the songs were coming from like very much a sad place in B's heart when they were
Yes.
going through a very hard time. And every song was like, you could just tell they were just sitting in their bedroom with a guitar and just like letting it out. And so
Yep.
we were like, you know what? We love the vibe, but I think we can do.
Let's revise.
Let's
Yeah.
come back to this maybe when you're feeling a little better in your heart and head.
And then I was, and
And
we
then you did, yeah.
and
now
it was
rocks.
better.
Yeah.
yeah, so those ones.
Yeah, technically,
So
Barefoot.
shout out mental health.
Yeah, I'll drink to that.
For sure, dude. Mental health. That's fucking good shit. You know? Yeah.
That's the EP.
Mental health only once.
Yeah.
So talk to me about kind of what was going into this record. Then, I mean, you kind of talked about how Bear Force One got a rewrite because it was a little bleak or whatever was going on with it. But what was kind of being put into these 4 tracks?
I think it's I mean, kind of diving into like the lyrical side of things. It's I think like the first EP and even the second one to an extent was like, oh, I'm having fun making these musics and smoking weed and da da da. And now this one I feels a little bit more jaded and a little bit more kind of like, well, we're still doing all of those things.
A little more complicated.
Yeah, it's a little more. Our emotions are more complex now,
but we're still smoking weed about it.
Yeah, but we're still smoking weed about it. But yeah, it was like I think a lot of it is like kind of lyrically was written in kind of a haze where I would see like a headline and like it would be some like typical like American like random garbage that's going on that day, you know, like whatever tragedy or like atrocity is being happening that day, and I would just like on the spot write all of the lyrics about that. So I don't know, kind of like the whole like there was I'm gonna switch this a little bit to there was a Jon Stewart quote from like a hot second ago where it was, I'm leaving this job because I'm old and angry and you are young and still happy, so best of luck. And it was like something like that, I'm paraphrasing, but that kind of general sentiment, I guess, is kind of the energy going into it.
I've lost faith and I'm walking away.
Yeah.
I'm no longer enchanted with this thing that has been built before us.
Yeah, a little bit like a disenchantment with adulthood. As lame as that sounds.
No, but
Where can people connect with Haze Gazer, to see what's going on with y'all? What's your socials? What's the place to go?
Where will we be able to find the as yet untitled but will be soon titled EP?
Yeah,
album.
If you want
music.
Shit posting, we have a Twitter.
I've been trying to resurrect our Twitter by shit posting more.
Yeah,
and earnestly posting band flyers. Or show flyers.
That's kind of
We've been
how
doing
promoting
numbers. We
yourself
get,
as
like,
a
4
band
likes.
works nowadays.
On Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, we get like 4 likes for doing numbers.
Nice.
But then our Instagram is Haze Gazer with like 5 R's.
So
I
Haze
think if you
Gazer,
type in the
Haze
band
Gazer.
name to any social media or streaming service, I think you'll be able to find it.
Yeah, we're on all
Got it.
streaming services except for Bandcamp because I'm lazy and haven't updated our Bandcamp. And we're only tweeters and Instagrammers. We don't fuck with any other social medias like that. Sorry, Facebook.
The only thing on our Bandcamp is our first EP. So if you want to listen to that on Bandcamp,
Go for
you can.
it. I will
but
pinky promise that when
the
you are
album is
hearing
not
this,
on there.
when you're hearing this, I will hopefully have updated the Bandcamp at this point in time in the future
We'll see.
with the new EP and the old album. And you know what? Maybe even be crazy, add some lyrics on
maybe
there.
my hallucination will come true because I totally imagined that it was up to date, and I checked it earlier today. But I think that must have just been Spotify.
You know what? Maybe it
and I
is.
was just
I don't know.
confused.
It's only just a dream. Sorry.
You're good.
And that's how we.
You can find us on 2 social medias and all streaming platforms.
If you ask
Joe's
nicely, we'll give you our
call.
email.
Apples
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah, you can always email Haze Gazer. Just I want
We
everyone
love
to know that.
emails.
Like,
Shout
if you
out.
have thoughts, send them in, and that's the message
Yeah.
we want to leave the listener with.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
y'all. We'll,
Yeah.
Mia,
shut
B,
the fuck forever.
Sean, congrats on the new EP.
Thank you.
It's fantastic.
Thank you.
You have been listening to the Ear Coffee Podcast. If you like what you heard, please rate, review, and share so we can stand out against the sea of other music podcasts. You can find information from this podcast and other important links in the show notes of this episode. If you would like to support us, please consider subscribing on Patreon for early access to episodes, live sessions, and other bonus content. You can also subscribe to our Substack for a regular newsletter with reviews, ramblings, and other written content. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.